Before we got on the show, I found this page. It's called Baco Tell, and it's just like a Taco Bell shit posting page. And I actually didn't realize how many items Taco Bell took off their menu.
Oh,
It actually it was kind of disappointing. Like the shredded chicken burrito's gone. I was like, what the why? Like that's such a fan favorite. Like I don't know. All I had heard, I think that I know that the potatoes, whatever had the potato burritos, I know that was all gone. And then Mary
anything with potato
is gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I saw anything with shredded chicken was gone. I was like, oh, you bastards. Like, why the hell would you do that to me? But anyways, I haven't eaten Taco Bell in a minute, but I started following this page because I saw this new word and it like I can't stop fucking laughing about it. But it's like, yeah, shove that Crunchwrap Supreme in my thrussie. My throat pussy. My thrussie, dude. It's like the greatest word I've ever heard in my entire life. And like I said it to Mary. Mary's like, that's not funny. And I was like, that's hilarious. My throat pussy. I'm going to use that for the rest of my life now.
Sometimes the English language doesn't need to exist.
Oh God, dude. Like the moment I saw it, I just lost it. And I had to follow that page because now everything is shoved that in my thrussie. Like I just.
Can I just say, I love how much you love this.
So it like made my dad forgot. I can't remember the last time I laughed that hard. Like I was like, that is such a beautiful word. Like that needs to be put in Merriam-Webster's. It's amazing. But thank you guys. I needed to share that before we actually got any further into the episode here. So
public.
Yeah, like no, we're public already. I just wanted to just say that to you guys. I figured you guys would enjoy that. So now you guys could take over the podcast because I have nothing else. That's all I prepared for this episode was Thrussie. I thought you guys would really enjoy that. So
yeah, no, I'm enthused.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm in thrust.
Yes, dude. Yes, he's catching on. I love it so much.
You're doing it, buddy. You're doing it.
I thought, we could start off on September 18th, which was last week. A dear woman died. And, usually it would be us, to have a long conversation about it. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg had finally passed from her cancer, which has caused quite an alarm. And I feel like there hasn't been enough of, paying respects for what that woman did in terms of like social justice and social issues. And, the more I actually researched about what she did, she was by far one of the most outspoken Supreme Court justices, that you've ever come across. I mean, even on certain social issues with Black Lives Matter, she's been on the other side of it, saying that some of these protests are just dumb or disrespectful or whatever. She didn't care. This woman just spoke her mind. And it was truly incredible.
Got a lot done for women who couldn't get a bank loan without a husband or man's signature and things such as that, where you think like this is so outdated, this is so out of there, like we would never fathom that. And it's because of her. We never grew up in the time with that because she paved the way.
That's true. It's very true. She was also one of the dissenting votes in the historical 2000 election. It was, there's a lot of talk, especially when it comes to, filling that seat now about, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard rumors that Obama was kind of trying to nudge her in a direction to step down. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that was something with her health and everything else, or because she said in 2018, I believe, that she was going to go until she couldn't do it anymore, which she did. More power to her, much respect. But
it goes both ways because Obama's in like the practicality, like, hey, let's see, that was I think they said it's 2014. So it's like, hey, you're 80 years old. Like you need to step down so we can put a younger pickup. And you would think, like, well, yeah, because for the sake of, I mean, you can say Democrat or Republican, but like, yeah, I'm gonna step down and allow you to fill this. Or on the other end, like, no, this is my life. This is my life's goal. Like, I'm not stopping this until I'm not breathing any longer. And
Yeah, she
so I see both ends. Like Obama's is more political, hers is more life.
career.
Like this is the essence of my being. So I get both ends of that. I wish in
Yeah,
hindsight to step down,
but did
but
you see today, or I believe it was today, that the House has put forth legislation that would limit Supreme Court justices' term to 18 years?
I like that.
I like that too, because that you could put them on a 6-year rotation. So every 6 years is another Supreme Court pick, or I think it's every 3 years. You get one Supreme Court justice is up every 3 years essentially. Once that first 18-year rollout happens, and then it's every year after that. So that way, each president, no matter who it is, gets one pick, and then you could get a second pick if you're elected again, and then it just kind of, or for every 3 years.
Yeah, barring any step downs or illnesses.
Oh, for
or
sure,
anything.
yeah, exactly, of course, and that would be a special consideration. That would I would, in my personal opinion, would say that it just goes to the normal selection process we have now, where the president selects with the advice and consent of the Senate.
The fact that we have a lifetime appointment is lunacy, because we see what happens now, like these constitutional crises that so now what the argument is Obama's final year, the final 11 months, like, oh, we don't want last year president who cannot even run again, just like the lifetime appointment. And then now you have, oh, we don't want a president, or we need our president to
We don't want to rob our president of this pick that he gets
exactly.
to have.
And the fact that it's a lifetime appointment is just kind of insanity, to where if you had it like staggered in such a way that it wouldn't be an issue of is our constitution, or is our will our rights be up for some sort of consideration for the next 40 years because of this one lifetime appointment. It's insane. I mean, why would if you're told that, like, starting out, like, hey, this is the idea I have, you would say no. And like we just go with it because this is how we're taught, this is how the government is, this is how we've always known it. But if you were to lay it out that way, it's insane to think that your entire uh, interpretation of rights could be completely upended for 30 years because of one president, either way, no matter if it's Democrat or Republican.
Right. So I when it comes to that, this is depending on which side of the aisle you're on, and then who's ever in power in the Senate. This becomes either like a life and death situation, just depending on if you're on the opposite side of what you want to happen. This isn't anything outside of this wasn't in the Constitution, like how it is that they're elected, or if they could be blocked. Basically what it is they blocked Obama in 2016 because the Republicans had the majority and they were able to do it. And the only thing Obama could say at the time is, hope they play fair. It's always been like this. Don't know why. It's not a law. They don't have to let you do it.
One thing Republicans never have is shame.
Well, no, and what the problem is, though, is how McConnell spun it in 2016, which was, the American people should, have a say in who can be, the next judge, blah, blah, blah. So we should wait, and we shouldn't do it, during the final year of an election, an election year, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, well, now you're just kind of choking on your own words because.
No, he's not.
Oh, it's all bullshit. And
no, he's not.
It's all
He's
bullshit.
Not choking on a damn thing other than his wife's money coming in from the. Anyway, I'm not going to go in there.
It's all bullshit. And so like, but and this is what I believe. If it was 2018 and I say we, you know, because we are Democratic supporters, but I mean, like, if we had won the House and the Senate, you don't think the Democrats right now would be trying to push that? Or would they wait until after the election?
Man, I don't know. I'd like to say that the Democrats would pull the same baloney that the Republicans are doing now, but I don't think that they have the spine to do it. So
yeah,
they'd probably try to play fair and just, oh well, we'll give whoever wins the next election or the next choice, and then it's going to blow up in their face.
Well, the infuriating thing to me that makes me want, like, if I could just have super strength one day and just choke all the Republican senators at once. When Ted Cruz, I heard him today get up and
getting my thrusty,
and he was like, his argument was, well, the Democrats were arguing for this in 2016, and now they're arguing against it. And it's like, dude, I hope you get gonorrhea somehow. I hope you get syphilis and it travels to your brain. And you
we've still got 4 more years at least of that guy. So
he's I
want syphilis to go to his brain and rot him out. But yeah, the whole like, well, you guys don't want us to appoint a nominate a Supreme Court judge, but you wanted that in 2016. Curious liberals, and you're just like, I want to punch you so hard your teeth fall out.
So like, but that's the truth. It's just, and it's so divided. It's so polarized now that you would like to think that it would end up this way for the side that you root for, you know, in good and justice and you know, just morality. It ain't. Like what you're gonna watch right now is the dirtiest of dirty for the next 2 months on both sides, and it's gonna get terrible.
But you know what? For my part, like me being a hardcore liberal Democrat, I'll say McConnell is operating perfectly fine. He is doing nothing wrong. He's doing nothing illegal. It's just the shame that it's like you refuse to play fair.
Oh yeah, he's taking
that. But if Merrick Garland got nominated and successfully placed in 2016, and then Ruth Bader Ginsburg died as she did in this timeline, and the Republicans are like, oh, we're going to put, you know, Amy Barrett or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
We're going to put her. We would have no argument. It'd be like, well, yeah. I mean, that's the president's job, and they didn't do it before, and so now they want to make it an issue, and they say, well, the Democrats don't want the president to do his job. It's like, no, you.
Well,
fuckers.
In all honesty, man, I really feel like if the Republican side, if the GOP wanted to be smart, they would be saying that 40 days out from an election, let's go ahead and put this on the back burner and let this.
I don't get it.
It would be so smart of them to do this, just to wipe that slate clean and say, look, we're doing this for you, and give that one little concession. And man, that one little concession would go so far.
You're wishing too much.
Democrats would cave so much more. They would just jump to the right, man. Like,
and that's a dream. And like I said, the only reason why,
not for me.
Oh, yeah, the only reason why it happened in 2016 is because the Senate had a Republican majority, and now they still have, you know, the majority, and it's because they can. It's all strategy. It's a chess game, and the Democrats are just getting slaughtered in the last 6 or 7 years, however long you want to
try 20, 30 years.
Well, since 2010, they haven't had the majority in the 50 states. Like, they
honestly haven't done much aside from the Clinton years. They really haven't done much.
They suck.
Carter.
Like, why is the Democrats like the political version of the Dallas Cowboys? Like, you just keep watching them and they just fail constantly over and over.
No.
Well, they're going to make the Super Bowl this year.
If you want to make it sports, what the Democrats are doing are saying like, all right, we're not gonna put, 13 men on the field because that's not part of the rules. What is it, 11 for football?
Yeah, so 12 men on the field.
yeah, so we're not going to put 13 on. The Republicans are like, we're going to put 13 on. The rest are like, okay. And we're like, no,
They just
okay,
allow that to
but
happen.
we didn't do that, so they can't do that. Like, we're going to let
Well,
them do that.
it's technically not in the rule book, so and it's
And
like,
we're like,
dude,
well, they scored a touchdown. They're like, well, I mean, you should have put 13 people in the field. It's like,
oh god,
that's not the rule.
I know how angry people got because it wasn't just the fact that like once because when Mason was the one that broke the news to me because I was shopping at Kroger when it happened, and Mason called me. He's like, dude, fuck, right? And I was like, oh Jesus. And of course, the first thing you know is like, all right, well, brace up because now it's going to get really interesting in the next 6 weeks to see what happens. I wasn't even done, Dustin. I wasn't even done grocery shopping, and Mitch McConnell released a statement about how quickly they were going to put a new justice on. I was like, damn, dude, like it hasn't even been an hour. Like you are such, and I think that's what really angered people because it just proves, and that's why you're saying too, Dustin, he doesn't care. He just put out a bullshit statement in 2016 saying, "Oh, it's up to the American people." No,
he's
it's
gotten
just
every
it's a
single thing
strategy.
he's wanted, man. He has everything he's ever wanted.
And we just
A long-term majority in the Senate, where they've been able to put so many judges on the circuit. Oh my goodness! Look up his record as far as putting judges out there. Now, also look at the reference, look at the records from with Obama and after Obama, and oh man, they have put so many justices out there, just conservative people that, and not that that's a bad thing per se, but that's going to be who's upholding our laws, our legal system for generations.
It's how it was done. So
exactly, that's the issue for me. But he doesn't care. He gets exactly what he wants.
Yep.
Like I'm a liberal judge. Like, all right, well, we're not going to have even a hearing on you. So,
oh, dude, it's hilarious.
But you know, the weird thing is, as much as I've hated McConnell always, Trump has brought out the best in him because Trump has said some stupid shit, as we know. Like, I'm going to delay the election, and McConnell's like, no, we're not. The election's on this day. And then when Trump said his stupid fucking bullshit about when they said, is there going to be a peaceful transition of power? And Trump said, well, you know, I'm going to have the results. And then McConnell, Lindsey Graham, like, I was listening to NPR. They described Collins in Maine as a moderate, and I laughed. But anyway, they're like, no, there's going to be if Joe Biden wins, Joe Biden wins. There's not going to be.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, and I hate that I have to do this. I hate that I have to do this in order to understand the current president. I believe what he was trying to say, although very badly, is that I'm not willing to admit anything until the results are in. Yeah. Now, while we might hear that as he's not saying that he's just going to hold on and hold on. I mean, okay, so Kerry held on because there were votes that were what was it, not the absentee but the provisional ballots in Ohio that you know he had a chance still, so he held on. Gore and Bush both held on. I mean, it's not unprecedented that it doesn't get wrapped up on election night. My question is specifically to that person, to that man, why can't you just say, if I lose, I will give up this power? Why can't you say those words?
That's QAnon saying, I'm giving the power to the people to destroy the swamp.
Unlimited power. I want to welcome on Alicia real quick. We were just talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Rest in peace once again.
Rest in power.
You know, so I shared a post before, I tagged you both in it, and it came across my timeline, and it was the Mike at Night Thursday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. And it just had the original photo of just me and Mason in it, and we just looked like infants at the time, and I thought that was adorable.
I cannot fit in that shirt anymore.
I can't fit, dude. I even know what size that shirt was. That was like an Avenged
Sevenfold. It was a 2T.
Like, dude, that was that was adorable when I saw that. And that just made me realize since 2011, we have been doing this probably about 8 of the 9 years now. And it's outrageous how many episodes between Mike at Night and Thanks for Nothing, 118 here and probably 200 plus on Mike at Night.
Worthless. It's all worthless.
We've never made $1 doing this, but we just enjoy doing it so much. But hey, money is money. And if anybody wanted to help us out and fund us on Patreon, our Patreon tag name is Thanks for Nothing. We're also, if you guys could follow us on our Facebook page, that's the T4N podcast. On Twitch, also the T4N podcast. And on YouTube, Thanks for Nothing. I'm excited. I really want to grow this a little bit more right now. And we want to try to get some more followers, more fans to check out our stuff and actually join the conversation.
Make sure you slam that like button with your fist. And punch the subscribe button through the screen.
Hit the subscribe button like it's a line of cocaine in your nose.
So yes,
y'all look at so there's lights in front of me and there's the window behind me. I'm outside. Does it look like I'm in like LA?
Yes, it does. I think that's the LA riots that are going on right now. Actually.
Those are all fighters.
But yes, once again, this is
sounds more like they're quieters.
Beautiful. Of Thanks for Nothing. My name is Mike. We also got Dustin here and Mason Blakely. What are you guys drinking this evening?
Dustin, what are you drinking?
I have Deep Ellum's finest of IPAs.
You're a slave to Deep Ellum. You're a
let it go.
Slave.
No, I actually, you know what's funny? I started working at Wild Acre today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I will no longer be a slave to Deep Ellum.
That's wild.
Where's that located, actually?
It's
off
wild.
of Camp Bowie.
Okay.
Wild.
Thank you.
Wild.
I'll be here all week.
I
had to stop on the way home, and this is what the gas station had that was relatively fancy. So
you're like, fuck it.
What I got.
I'll just take that.
Oh, you're
what about
a
you, Mason?
Taker. I'm not drinking a whiskey drink.
Uh-oh.
You're drinking a cider drink?
I'm not drinking a lager drink. I'm drinking.
Oh, God.
Cider drink.
Are you singing songs that remind you of the good times?
Down. Like it again. It's called Austin's. Don't get mad at me. Don't kick me out the podcast.
It's Austin East Ciders, right?
East Ciders, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good.
To Austin East Ciders.
It's a
That's wonderful.
cider.
Yeah, Mike, it's spelled with the C.
Oh my God! Like, no shit.
So it's like ciders.
Do you fucking get it?
Is that a vein? Did I see a vein like wrong?
I'm actually drinking myself right now, Amaretto di Serono. It's been a minute since I've had some. We talked about it weeks ago, actually, and just never got around to getting it. And I was like, I'm going to get that di Serono now.
Did you really have a sugar craving?
I did. I wanted to get the diabetes and the alcohol poisoning at the same time. I figured this is a good way to do it.
Throw that over some ice with Bailey's, man. You'll get there real quick.
Oh my God, with Bailey's?
Yeah, Bailey's and Amaretto. You never tried that?
No, that sounds super sweet.
It's
at the restaurant I work at. We used to pour Disaronno over ice cream.
I believe that, like amaretto ice cream, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, no, that's pretty genius. So, cheers to that. Alicia said she's drinking Hop and Sting Brewing Company beer. I don't know which one, but she says they got a couple of really good ones. So
it sounds good. Well. It sounds like real beer, which I wish I could have, but I can't. But whatever. Good for you.
And so this brings us to the main point of
no, Mike, what are you drinking?
Amaretto di Serono.
Oh my gosh.
Go to bed. So now I just fucking told you.
No, you didn't, Mike.
It's 2011. We have a show at Fishbowl Radio.
We have to go. We have to get onto I-30.
Me and you are roommates. I've been trying to wake you up for hours now.
Oh God. Wait, so actually, whenever we did start, were you guys still living at that greenhouse?
No.
No.
You guys left there already?
Yeah.
Oh, you were living
Yeah.
just down the road on Western Center by that point, right?
Yeah, just to that apartment.
Yeah. Okay. No, I don't think I ever saw that greenhouse. I don't think we all knew each other yet when you guys were living at the greenhouse.
I don't think so.
No, I think you guys had already moved. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys were already living there. Anyways, so this is the main point of the conversation I wanted to bring up. This might cause some arguments, but I got a lot of really strong opinions and just a bunch of nervous ticks that, or angry ticks, might I say, that I want to get across to you guys. I want to say thanks for nothing to Brett Hankinson, who got away with just wanton endangerment when it comes to the death of Breonna Taylor. The other two officers were not indicted. Of course, if you guys know, yesterday, I think it came down around noon, or was that the day before? It might have been the day before.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay. But they had already declared a state of emergency before the announcements were officially, or the actual convictions, the charges were actually, gone through. And whenever they already declare a state of emergency before any news actually gets out, you already know what's about to happen. It's not going to be what the people want to hear. So yeah, wanton endangerment, and it was because, a couple things. He didn't have a line of sight when he fired through the window. Also, there was bullets that went through the wall that could have possibly injured other residents in the apartment complex.
Not the dead woman. Other residents.
Other residents. That's
right.
Not the woman that was killed by the bullets.
Yeah, I saw a great little text deal yesterday that basically that jury convicted him on the bullets that missed.
Yep.
Instead of the bullets.
And
there's so many different ways that we can put this and spin it. And the problem that I have right now is I know at the end of this and at the end of this argument, you both are going to say one thing: was justice served for the death of Breonna Taylor? And we're going to say no, it wasn't. And I know that. I 100% understand that. The argument I'm going to have now is not about that in particular. The other two officers, were not charged with anything. Nothing came down. And so I believe the guy is being held at $15,000 bail, and then his punishment is going to be rolled out after that, because I don't think they've done his punishment yet. Correct? That's the next thing.
No, but he probably won't serve any jail time. So,
and he's also no longer on the force.
Great.
Right, but he
pointed out if you would get you would have a larger bail amount if you protested the killing of Breonna Taylor tonight than if you shot Breonna Taylor.
Because of the fact, and it's because it's now like a state of emergency. I think it's a
$5 million bail versus a $15,000 bail. So,
and that's another argument that comes in. Another thing that the problem with this too was the no knock policy that was put in place beforehand. They were plainclothed and they busted in. There was a long investigation leading up to it when it comes to her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend and one of his friends, and how one of his friends was actually picking up a package from that apartment, and that was going over to a known drug dealer's house. So the investigation was leading up to it. This murder did do one thing, and what it did was eliminate the no-knock policy. Whoop-de-doo, Hazel. So outside of that,
as we know it.
So the riots begin. You have two officers that are shot. You have multiple protesters that were arrested as well. My question is, do you guys feel like the message in this Black Lives Matter is getting lost?
Nope. Because what they're doing is taking, and this there's no way to say this without having the precursor. I'm not anti-cop. I have multiple family members that are cops. I don't think cops should be summarily shot. Like, I think they have a right to defend themselves. All the basic things that people say, all the basic arguments against all the protests and all the lashing out against police, all those are null and void with me because I completely support the police until you do something that is cruel and um, unnecessary. And so now, when it comes to the Black Lives Matter protest, you cannot you cannot expect nonviolence when there is just increased violence against you. So that's to say, if you know this act of violence that ends up killing a human being, you cannot say, all right, you can protest that, but you better be nice about it because this is human life. And I think the ultimate problem is actually the philosophy of life and death, that people don't seem to understand what death really means, because death is the absolute fucking end. So you don't see, like, we hear about Breonna Taylor.
You don't value the quality of life. You don't value life at
right.
all.
You hear about Breonna Taylor and you're like, man, that's sad. But if that was your sister or brother or aunt or uncle or mom or dad and their life is done, are you going to say, gosh, I just wish I could do more than shout at you in the streets? No, that's not the point. They are wantonly executed because Breonna Taylor had nothing to do with anything that they're going after. Her boyfriend almost had nothing to do. I think it was an ex-boyfriend that they had to work
It was
for.
an ex, yes.
So that was entirely. That was literally just you ended a human life for absolutely no reason. And so when people hear that happens, and then they say, all right, but don't fire bullets into walls and you're going to get into a lot of trouble, but that's it. Like, when people take
But the bullets through the walls, they basically had already decided that Breonna Taylor's death, it was almost like collateral damage. There was nothing
exactly.
but the problem with the lead investigator, Hankinson, was when he fired, he there was nothing in his line of sight. He was just shooting through a window with blinds over it.
Exactly.
Which that's all he was being punished for, which means that they knew that there was not going to be any charges that was going to come against Breonna Taylor.
And so when it comes to that, which I'm 100% against violence against citizens and police, when there's an act of cruelty and violence like that, just completely let's just fucking let it all loose. Let's go. And then when you have quote unquote Black Lives Matter, that's supposedly doing all this, these violent acts and these acts of cruelty, what do you expect? You can't do acts of cruelty and then expect there to just be someone saying, "Oh shucks, don't do that anymore."
Right.
Cruelty is met with cruelty, and I don't agree with it. I don't like violence, but what do you want? What do you want to happen? Nikki, I think it was Nikki, posted something on Facebook, basically when it comes to peaceful protests, and it really stuck with me whenever she posted it. When it comes to peaceful protest, it's assumed that the person you're protesting has a conscience. So if there's no if they're just going to be
I saw that. Then and America has none of that.
America has none of that. So what do you expect if we're going to sit here and tell you, hey, please don't just summarily execute us, and then they say, yeah, I hear you, death sucks, but whatever, we're going to be as violent as we please. What do you expect to happen?
These laws have been in place since our grandpappy's times and before that. So they've been doing us all right for so long. Why should we change them?
Why is there a problem now?
Doing me all right.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's almost like this. And I've said this before on a previous episode, and I'll just reiterate it. It's almost like this. I don't necessarily think that there's a problem with the system how it is now. But if since I disagree with you, I guess that you think I'm a racist. But it's like that mentality almost just skews the whole protest in general, because you have people who go, but I'm not racist. But if I disagree with you, I guess I'm a racist. It's like, well, nobody called you, X person, a racist. Nobody said that. All we're saying in this protest is, hey, we feel like we're being targeted based on the color of our skin. So we have a problem with that with law enforcement, and we think that there's something that should be done about this. but they turn around and they say, well, I don't agree with you, so I guess that makes me racist. You know what? Everything's racist these days. Everything's so sensitive, blah, 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 blah. So now I have this. So now, you know, you have a problem with the cops. Well, you think I'm racist, so I'm just going to support the cops now. And that whole argument, because Blue Lives Matter, I understand that police officers are in the line of duty every single day. I have no argument whatsoever about how they put their life on the line. Absolutely, you're correct. But that's not what the protest was about. It's about people, certain cops, certain bad apples. We'll even use that one, the bad apples mentality on it, that wield their power, and reign dominion over somebody else. And sometimes that costs the life of another individual.
And that's why
that's the protest.
I hate the fucking term bad apples, because bad apples is like oh gosh, golly, I shouldn't have done that. We were talking, this goes back to what I was saying about the philosophy of human life. You are killing, you can't go back and unkill someone.
Right.
So it's like,
people love that whole bad apples. There's always a few rotten apples, but they've always neglect to continue the phrase, which is a rotten apple spoils the bunch. So just because there's always going to be a few bad apples, that means that the whole thing is tainted. It's why you go in and you pluck out the bad apples.
And they say, well, one person was killed and they shouldn't have been killed.
Oh yeah, one person.
That's one human life. That's not
one too many.
That's not in existence anymore. Think of that like in that term. If it was your life, you would not exist on this fucking plane of existence anymore. You're done. Is that okay with you? Are you willing to be that sacrifice? Like, yeah, you know what? Okay, yeah, the police aren't perfect. It was just my life that snuffed out, and I'm not here anymore. You would, I mean, if you were able to have that perspective, if you were able to have that rationale, if you could also live it, you would say no. So what it comes down to is what like Black Lives Matter is saying is, we are telling you that we are systematically targeted in certain ways, and you can bring up any arguments about black on black crime and police
no more than anybody else.
Yep, and it doesn't matter when it comes down to actual human life. A cop should not be able to just end the existence of someone without there being repercussions. And with
there has to be cause for it, which there are times where there is cause.
This isn't even about that. That's assumed with the role of the specific job of. But if you were to kill Breonna Taylor, if Mike, you killed Breonna Taylor, Dustin, if you killed Breonna Taylor, you would be so fucking deep in jail right now, and you would never see the light of day again, because you killed someone that was doing nothing against you. But when a cop does something like that, they're given not only the benefit of the doubt, which I know there's a term, innocent until proven guilty, but benefit of the doubt is saying, like, you're a cop, ergo you're right to do what you did, until we figure out maybe there was something that wasn't right about it. But
it's not just that. It's not just that, though, but benefit of the doubt has everything to do with the fact that we revere policemen, and policemen are above reproach, and there's no way that you would be a corrupt cop, because that's a nasty thing. I believe that you would do good because you're a policeman.
If you killed that person, it's because they deserved it.
Exactly. That's the benefit of the doubt.
And that's not how it works, but that is how it works. That is what's going on. That is what's going on.
The next thing I want to talk about here is, there's something, there's always this argument about what punishment should come when it comes to, delivering justice. Now, like I said, justice was not served with Breonna Taylor. Now flip the script. Justice was served. Manslaughter. Is that justice? Or do you think with the rioters with Black Lives Matter, are they going to look at that as justice, or is there still going to be rioting going on in the streets?
Oh, they'll probably still be rioting. They'll still be protesting.
But why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they?
I'm not saying they shouldn't, man. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I don't condone. I don't condone rioting. I gotta give out my little conservative caveats here. I don't condone looting. I don't condone violent protests. But man,
but listen,
these people have been. There is a certain sect of this country that is obviously, and say what you will about the 1619 project or whatever the hell the president's trying to advocate for. Man, there seems to be a certain group of people throughout the history of this entire nation that always seem to get the shit end of the stick. Every time.
Of course. And it'll always be like that till the end of time.
And it's not specifically the Black lives, but man, it certainly feels a little more weighted onto them.
Of course, because now they're already looked at as, Antifa. They're looked at as, they're primarily associated with Antifa. They get labeled as domestic terrorists because this protest has gone to the point of violence, which I said whenever we were talking about the Rittenhouse thing. Once the bullets started firing, I just lost hope. And the reason why I lost hope was because nobody's listening anymore, but they weren't listening in the beginning. And now whenever they say, well, look at how they're writing, it's like, I get so angry at how they're like, well, they're rioting now. How is anybody going to listen to them? Well, you're the same fucking person that was saying 5 years ago, whenever this started, I don't want to listen to them then either. Like, well, this isn't going to go away. This is an actual real social issue. But I want to talk about the rioting just for a second, because it's something that we touch on because, it's in the news a lot. But at the same time, if I were to play devil's advocate here, I want to know what is justice? What does justice look like? What is it? Is it manslaughter? Like what? The guy goes to prison for 5 years. The guy goes to prison for 8 years.
So I don't like the outcome of the trial. I don't like that.
Of course not.
I don't like that he's getting off as light as he is, which, however you perceive it, he is still getting convicted, right? And barring any appeals, he's still getting that felony on his record. So, Okay. The problems you run into are, one, if you go after this one cop, that tells a lot of other cops that we're not going to be protecting you, which inherently can be dangerous. Now, I'm of the opinion that, a cop should be worried about his job if he does something wrong, or she should. Let's not be sexist. But
it's okay. Nobody was thinking that.
Yeah, thanks, man. If I mess up on my job, I'm held accountable.
Right.
If a nuclear power plant has one worker that's sleeping on the job and that causes some sort of a meltdown and they nearly explode.
Have you been watching The Simpsons?
No.
Did you watch Chernobyl?
Oh yeah, dude, that was great. But that was a while back. That was back when it first came out.
Love it.
Anyway,
I would watch it. That was good.
We have to hold people accountable. So you have to worry about that as far as the police reaction coming out saying that, oh well, if I slip up accidentally, if I slip on this banana peel, they can revoke my badge and gun. You don't want that. You don't want that kind of negativity as far as your police force goes, because you want them to be relatively happy, right? Secondly, based on the evidence and just going from a legal standpoint, at the time, that search warrant, even though it was a no-knock warrant, was legal. So they were police officers acting in their duty. So it was a legal execution of a no-knock search warrant. The fact that he blindly shot his weapon through that window is exactly why he's being convicted. And it's not because he shot her. I mean, it is. That's the only reason he's getting anything, because if he didn't hit anybody, no one would have said anything. Right? So he's getting off on that. So legally, he couldn't have known that she was there. But why did he fire that into the first place?
So this, okay.
As far as justice goes, yes, a woman is dead, and she doesn't need to be. She didn't need to be.
Right.
None of that situation should have happened at all.
Of course, but
that's what we have to address. How did that situation come about? first of all, yeah, the no-knock warrant stuff hopefully is gone for at least the time being until we can really root it out. But there's at least a small change. I mean,
oh yeah, it was unanimously eliminated, the no-knock warrant.
Yeah,
because of that.
So there's, I get, as far as justice goes for her, we won't see that for a while.
The
as far as justice in the system goes, that well, he got what he deserved from all of the proper people, I should say. Then yeah, they're vindicated. Oh look, we charged him. What else do you want? Like, come on.
And I get that that's bullshit. You know, you see a lot. You know, bring up social media again because that's really where a lot of these tensions flare. Everything just kind of goes around.
I got really fucking disappointed with a lot of people that I'm friends with.
I bet you when it comes to Breonna Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before you say that, because I am interested in hearing that. I hear a lot of people, you know, and you'll go to certain news sites like really popular ones, and they're talking about that's capital murder, that's life, put him to death, blah 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 blah. That's not how the law works.
No,
but the
it's
thing
not.
is that the anger, it's anger. The reason why they're saying it's anger.
But see, that's the difference between revenge and justice.
Right. But now what I fear when it comes to these protests is it's getting to the point of no longer protesting for the cause. It's now just getting revenge. And I feel like that's where we're getting to.
Well,
and it's
honestly,
almost like now it's over. It doesn't matter if that guy got 15 years in prison. That's not good enough. And I feel like that's what's going to happen.
I honestly don't think you're wrong, man, because at this point, no, they didn't get exactly what they wanted out of this case. But that was like, I think you're right. I think that wouldn't have really mattered. What I've been seeing is an outcry of people that have been not silent, but just cast asunder, kept quieter. Oh, you're complaining too loudly. Here's an extra 50 cents. Just, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that. Then it's a lot of frustration. It seems like
it is,
and it's weird because there's a lot of frustration on both sides.
Because then you got a lot of people frustration.
Because we've been stifling all of the non-PC things for 20, 30 years, so I can't openly say certain words in front of mixed company. Like,
you shouldn't say it anyway.
You're not wrong, Mike, but that's not how they feel. That's not how their pappies raised them to be, okay? I stand up for my rights.
Fuck! Jesus Christ! What were you saying, Mason? You said you were really disappointed with some of your friends. What were you talking about?
No, just the actually it was a mixture. Like some of the most conservative people that I'm friends with on Facebook. I was like, oh, so you think this is an outrage too? Like, fucking good for you. But then some other people that I thought were more like on the level-headed side of things, like, oh, well, they don't talk about the fact that her boyfriend opened up and fired on cops. And it's like,
no, they did. They did talk about that.
They did, but the thing is, if you don't know they're cop, because it's the same shit with Kyle Rittenhouse. It's the same fucking shit like that I've been saying.
George Zimmerman
too. You don't know the intentions of those people. So if your door busts open and all of a sudden someone says, "We're cops," bam, doors open. And
oh wait, what was the name of the Jean? The female cop here in Fort Worth.
Oh yeah, Amber Geiger? No, no.
Yeah,
Geiger.
Was it Geiger?
Botham Jean. Yeah. But
you know, the thing is, like, whenever if your door busts open and then and you want to be a Second Amendment, like, oh, I'll protect my rights, I'll protect
my home.
Castle Doctrine.
That's what he was fucking doing.
But imagine though, the door busts open and someone says, "Where are the cops? Open up." Door busts open and you don't see a badge or anything. You just see these plainclothes fucking motherfuckers, and you're like, okay, I don't know if those are cops, so I'm gonna do what the Second Amendment says I can do and open fire. And then you have the same thing with on the reverse end. Like I was saying with Kyle Rittenhouse, like some dude parading around with an AR-15, or like, this is a fucking school shooter right here. And so you're a hero if you take him down. He's a school shooter. You're a villain if he was a patriot and he was trying to protect himself. So it goes
It's all about perspective, man.
It is.
Exactly.
And what side of the aisle you lay on?
That same way, like, you know, well, he opened fire on police, like, yeah, because he fucking thought his home was being invaded, you dipshit. And it's
the NRA loves.
Yeah, that's their goal. That's the whole thing. Like, I'm a man, I can protect my family because
I shot a home invader 3 times, man.
I'm in a John Wayne movie and I'm the main character. I'm John. And you know, it's like they want whatever fits their worldview. And so the thing that I saw that pissed me off in the conservative media about this and the inevitable riots that would come from Breonna Taylor is as soon as it was announced that he was being charged for hurting drywall, it came out that, oh, all right, Louisville PD, like, you know what, basically, like, you know, stand your ground, you know, show those riders what they can and can't do. And it's just like, you don't get the fact that an ordinary citizen that was minding her own business got killed. You're a fucking fraud. You're a goddamn fucking fraud. You're a fucking heretic, and you're not American because you claim to be so Second Amendment, pro Second Amendment. You claim to be so heroic, and this is because I know a lot of our listeners too, including, you know, people that are in my family that are police officers or you know, that know police officers, whatever. These people that I'm talking about are bootlickers to the point that they're deep throating a boot. Like, a cop could piss down their infant child's throat.
Put that boot in my thrussie.
In my throat.
Oh!
You finally found a way to incorporate it. I'm so happy.
I love the word. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But
no, we all respect police officers, I think.
But,
I mean,
but these are the people that are like, hey, put your boot so far down my throat I gag and throw up, and I'll clean it up, daddy.
No, so okay, all right, no. The thing that the issue is, and I'm going to say this again. It's a post I've shared before. You know, somebody in the Ozarks had said that she was at a rally and she was interviewed by a journalist and had said, you know, she herself is a Democrat and she lives in Trump City, USA. And, you know, when asked, you know, why is it such a heavy Trump area, you know, they got into the politics behind it. And the thing is, it's one thing. It's not about policies. It's not about direction of the country. It's not about your actual rights. It's fuck liberals. Hands down. That's it. I want to beat the liberals. I want to make the liberals cry again. It's a game. That's almost why, you know, and I believe this 150 fucking %. When Black Lives Matter started and everybody said, fuck that, you turn around and you go, well, Blue Lives Matter. It's a game. It's a fucking game. And they don't care about the actual thing. They're just like, no, well, they matter. All right, rock 'em, sock 'em, robots, let's go. What the fuck are we doing?
Like, I don't think you're wrong or anything. I just mean that I think a lot of people in general, and not just on the right side of things. I think a lot of people in general, like, oh my goodness, excuse me, they like to have that whole tribal mentality of us versus them, so that, yeah, well, screw them. I don't care how they feel. Like, just do what we want. You know the types. I mean,
I do.
It's on both sides. It happens.
That is. But
I think majority, if you really ask, yeah, sure, they might delight a little bit that we own the libs a little bit there, didn't we? But for the most part, they're trying to get their own policies enacted, and sometimes they actually benefit the people that vote for them. So.
Well, okay, so you know, this brings up another point here. Last Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago, I guess it was the day after we did our previous episode. Football opened up on Thursday Night Football. It was Kansas City and Houston, and it was met during the moment of silence with boos. Do you remember that, Dustin?
Yes.
Okay. Did you watch that game at all?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, okay. So I'll let you know. the first, and even Chris Collinsworth said something about it, but when major organizations try to take a stand on something, I feel like that also kind of it alienates, which, look, you shouldn't be alienated on Black Lives Matter. If you disagree with me, just fuck off. Anyways, but like,
No,
it alienates.
let people have their opinions. It's fine.
Right. Like, well, that's
Don't
my
have
personal
my opinions because my opinions
like, I'm sorry, like
good.
the origination.
Hey, you know what? No, everybody's allowed to their own opinion, and everyone else is also allowed to be wrong. So,
so the point, you know, and you could tell Chris Collinsworth was even, you know, getting kind of like, wow, like the NFL's going way hard at this. The first 30 minutes, like the game was scheduled to start. I guess the broadcast is like 7:15. You got the national anthem. You have the opening ceremony. So you're probably not going to get official kickoff until about 7:40. Well, it's about 7:55 when the kickoff actually happens. And it's a lot that has to do with social justice. And it goes on for about 15, 20 minutes. You got the moment of silence. You have the televised national anthem being and God Bless America. And they're wearing, you know, justice for Breonna, all this stuff. And the thing is that it was overloaded to the point where Colin Kaepernick was just like, wow, showboating that after being so dismissive for 4 or 5 years. It's all about just a public persona is all you're trying to do. And you could tell even Chris Collinsworth.
Kaepernick got to the point where he's like, holy fuck, just play the game.
Right? But that's what Chris Collinsworth did. He's like, all right, you know what? Yep, that's a big issue. Let's play football. Like it's almost like that. They're like, oh, this is what everybody's talking about. Let's flood it with this. And, you know, it's like cancel culture plays into that as well. But I don't understand why there's so much avid resistance and hate. And how did the NFL not know that this was going to create that much more of a division?
Well, see, I think this is where the NFL is going wrong in a lot of sports. Like what Colin Kaepernick did, I 110% fucking agree with. But what this is, and the reason I agree with Kaepernick is because what he did was he knelt during the national anthem. What's going on now is, you know, kind of what is angering people. I agree with all the stances they're taking. I perfectly do. Excuse me, but what Kaepernick was doing didn't delay the game. Didn't, if you will, cause traffic, I guess you can say. Yeah. Like if you're gonna protest, do it, because that was my biggest argument with
do it peacefully.
Well, yes, but you know what everyone's saying is like, well, I just don't think you should do it. You know, I'm trying to watch sports, and it's like, right, but he's not doing it during the game. He's not delaying the game. He's not doing anything. And so I think the NFL is definitely trying to overcompensate.
Oh yeah. Well,
honestly, I was just saying, to me, it feels like so basketball has a lot of black players and they have a lot of black fans.
No shit.
So it's easy to go along with the BLM stuff. It's easy to have it on jerseys and on the court. It's hard to do that with baseball because, yeah, there's black players, but there's not a whole lot of black fan base, if you know what I'm trying to say.
They're Dominican.
Do what?
Nothing. Go. They're Dominican.
They're Dominican.
But then you got the problem with football is that there's a lot of black players. And sure, there's a lot of black fans, but there's also a whole lot of white fans, too. There's a whole lot of white fans that would really be upset if I'm saying BLM over WLM. Like, so they put themselves in a really hard position. At first, they said, no. Anyone that protests, no. That's why they kicked Kaepernick out. But now it's, well, we're going to be softening our opinion, but that's going to be losing them fans, and they're not going to like that. So it's a
kerfuffle.
It's a kerfuffle. That's the perfect word for it.
It's true. It's very true. And, you know,
I'm sorry, I lost that train of thought. It was my bad.
No. It's okay.
I hope so.
The point being, and you know, we're about to wrap up here. I don't even have a thanks for something. I don't know, Dustin, if you do either. Maybe there's just nothing to thank anymore. Maybe we're doomed. But it's okay.
I could figure something out real quick.
Why don't you just look for a speck of dust? But anyways, so
go to my comment figure out thanks for something.
the the issue that I have is I feel like it doesn't matter. It's almost human nature. You feel like you've been ignored long enough on a certain matter.
Exactly.
And now you're just so angry that nothing's going to satisfy it. You know, it's almost like just having a terrible girlfriend who pissed you off so much that the moment she says she's sorry, you're like, I don't want to fucking hear your apologies anymore. I'm done with it.
But
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, no matter what the opposition is, this could be. I mean, you could even bring up unions. How many people are in opposition to unions? How many people are in opposition to, like when the women's marches, whenever Trump was elected, and they're like, "What are you marching for? You live in the greatest country in the world," and it's like, right. Well, you're
anyways, we're marching.
Anyways, yeah. You can bring up anything, and there's going to be that sect of people that are just like that discredit it, because honestly, the truth is, I'm not even going to say they're privileged, because that's not fair to say, but they don't have enough in their life to fight for. They don't have much, and that might sound wrong or rude, but the truth is, it's like, the old Winston Churchill quote, "Oh, you made an enemy in your life? Great, that means you stood for something at some point." And so, with Black Lives Matter, with the women's marches, not to compare any of these unions, to just I mean, the list goes on. You could say it's like the people that are so adamantly opposed to that. The truth is, it's like you don't have much to fight for. You maybe don't see any hope. Maybe you don't have much conviction. But either which way, you're not fighting for anything, and these people are. So you can discredit them all you want, but it doesn't invalidate all that they're saying.
Of course, and that's an amazing way to actually put it. I guess my last thing that I want to say about it, though, yeah, I know I opened it up by saying that is the message being lost. And I think, talking about these riots and the protests, I am afraid that the message is being lost. And, and the more that the violence continues, the more strayed away from, the positive impact you want to have on this movement. I'm not a victim of, what's happened, to a certain sect of this country. I've been very blessed my entire life with opportunities and the ability, a good education and the ability to better myself. I also understand and know that that's not the case for everybody else. That right there is called, and it's such a simple thing, but it's called empathy. And the thing that I feel that a lot of people lack when it comes to this argument is put yourself in their shoes, especially those that are underprivileged, and just try to look at what life is like. Look at the pressures that they have to go through day to day to stay on the right path. I think you've seen it. I'll go back to sports one more time. Like the NFL draft, it's like every single one of them had a sad story. But I mean, the problem with that is these are golden moments for people. And yeah, so they make a lot of money. Well, they made it. They took their talents. They took the one thing that they had to become the best person they could possibly be. And you can't knock them for that. So you can't turn around and say, shut up and play football, or you make a lot of money. You don't have any problems. You have no idea what the fuck they came from. You have no idea who they were before this. And that's true in every case in this country. You look at these urban communities, that lack in educational funding, and these kids are going home hungry, or sexually transmitted diseases are going on a rampant rate. I mean, that's not where you came from. You came from a suburban home with a decent public school, and you had an opportunity to make something better of yourself. That's not everybody, but the ones that actually did pull themselves up by their bootstraps to better themselves, don't turn around and knock somebody else because they didn't do what you did. How the fuck do you know? How the fuck do you know that their struggle isn't like yours? That's the part that bothers me the most.
Let's not fail to add that the ones that failed, they say, of course, you deserved it. And the ones that succeed, you say, hell yeah, you made it. It's the same thing. They say in those more impoverished areas, they'll tell you simultaneously, well, you made the wrong choices, so that's where you failed. Or if you make it, you made the right choices, so good for you. It's a no-win situation almost.
Yeah, I feel like this country needs to get back to, well, one, recognizing when there's issues in the country, and two, cheering each other on, and actually, making bigger impacts. Sports will actually be a lot more enjoyable if we just cheer each other on. And I think that's been kind of lost in translation when it comes to these debates. I do want to reiterate one more time here. It's been fun. I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad we took a break as well. This was episode number 118. Thanks for nothing to Brett Hankinson. You got off lucky. Guys, we are on YouTube. Thanks for nothing. Facebook page, T4N podcast, and Twitch, same name. And also, guys, follow us on Patreon. Thanks for nothing. Coming from me, Dustin, and Mason. Thanks for nothing, everybody. And here is your speck of dust.
The Kansas City Chiefs raised $1 million now for the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Kansas City. So, thanks for something.
Thank you.